Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Niger to America. On today's episode, we'll be talking about how to become a certified professional accountant as an international student. We have a guest here with us. She's an accountant and she's been in the field for about 7 years now. I'm not going to introduce and say everything about her, so go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. My name is Ian. I am an accountant, like she mentioned, and I have about 7 years of experience. I started off in public accounting and now I'm in industry.
Okay. What is public accounting versus industry mean for people that don't know?
Okay, so public accounting just means that you work for an accounting firm that kind of acts like a consultant to other companies. So you maybe, let's use an example, the big four accounting firms, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, and Ernst & Young. So when you work for those companies and you go to clients, different clients, then you're in public accounting. In industry, however, you have moved from being a consultant to working for that one company in their accounting department and finance department.
Okay. Well, thanks for the clarification. So how did you get into accounting?
So there's really no whatever moment,
There's
but
no eureka moment.
no. I just like numbers, to be honest. I like numbers, and right from secondary school I knew that. Instead of going to like a science class, I went to social science instead, and honestly the choice was between accounting and economics. Accounting just sounded more practical to me than economics, so I went for that instead.
Okay. Well, has that been a good experience, a good choice so far?
Yes. I mean, they're tough times, but I picked it. So, but in general, honestly, it's paid off really well.
Okay.
Especially if you know what you're doing and you're very strategic with your moves and all of that.
Okay. So
yeah.
what degrees did you retain? And what do you currently do? Are you in public accounting? Are you in industry?
So I have a bachelor's of arts in accounting, no master's, nothing. And I am currently in industry, no longer in public accounting.
Okay. And you're also certified CPA certified?
Yes.
Okay.
CPA.
So before we move into the question of CPA, being in your field, would you say that it's necessary to have a master's, or with just a bachelor's, is that fine, or how does it work in accounting?
Honestly, a typical accountant would tell you don't need a master's. All you need,
you have a CPA.
all you
license.
need is CPA. To be honest, like what people care about is, are you a CPA? Are you licensed to work as a public accountant in the state that you're in? If you get a master's, cool, it's nice, more accolades in the bag, but
It really doesn't
it really doesn't matter. Maybe where it would matter is coming in as an entry-level person and you are, in terms of negotiating for pay, they might give you a little bit more. But honestly, as you continue to grow, it probably would even out at some point.
Okay.
Yes. And I think it's probably even more important in industry if you have a maybe master's in terms of money-wise compared to like public accounting. Yes. Because in public accounting, I had people tell me, I said I wanted to get an MBA, and she was like, what for? Once you have your CPA, you don't need anything else. Some people will tell you otherwise, just to get it, just to have it, but nobody cares really.
I guess maybe if you wanted to become like a professor or something, getting a master's and PhD.
Yeah, or if you want to move to industry and become a CFO or CEO, or they might look at those things.
An MBA.
Yeah.
Right. So how does one become a certified public accountant in the US? What are the requirements?
Yeah, I kept saying certified professional accountant. It's public accountant.
It's cool. So how do you become a CPA, certified public accountant in the US? Honestly, it varies by state. So each state determines the requirements to become a CPA in that state. So I'm going to be talking from an Illinois perspective. And Illinois, honestly, is one of the toughest states, to get your CPA in, just because of the requirements. So first of all, you have to go to school for accounting. And if you don't go to school for accounting, you need to get like certain credit hours in certain business courses and accounting courses.
What does school here mean? Can you get an associate degree? Does it have to be a bachelor's degree? But your 150 hours just needs to count one way or the other.
Yes. So you need to you can either go to 4-year college, or you can go to community college, but you need to get, I think it's two years of community college. So in short, it needs to be 4 at the end of the day. And in Illinois, you need to get 150 credit hours. So to put that in perspective, in a normal college, you need to have 120 credit hours to graduate. But in Illinois, to become a certified public accountant, you need 150 credit hours. So which means you probably have to take more classes while others are partying. You're going to be overloading. If you go to a school like the one I went to, where you have like May terms or summer school or summer classes, it's better to take advantage of those. If not, you can also get more credit hours from community colleges, or you can just do 1 year of master's in accounting. Get the master's done, get your hours in, and you're good. In my case, I wanted to graduate in 4 years because we're trying to save our parents' money. So wanted to graduate in 4 years and be done with that. So I tried as much as possible to get my 150 credit hours in 4 years, which required a lot of planning. People that know me know I like to plan, but my first semester in college, I literally knew the classes I wanted to be taking my last year in college, because each class has a prerequisite. So you have to take the prerequisite before you take the actual class. So you need to know what classes you have to be taking your first semester, your second semester, your sophomore year, your junior year, and all of that to be able to graduate in time to get your 150 credit hours in 4 years.
So apart from your 150 credit hours, what else do you need? I mean, you do need to actually sit for the CPA, right?
Yes. So that's step 1, getting your 150 credit hours. Now you have to also, for Illinois, you have to submit an application to the board of examiners. That's what they call themselves, Illinois Board of Examiners. You have to submit an application. I think there is a fee associated with that. I'm pretty sure there's a fee associated with that. And then they have to verify, and you also have to submit all the classes you took, because they have a list of classes that you have to take, and those classes have to align and match up with the classes you've taken in school. So for example, if you did not school within the US and you schooled outside of the US and you're bringing those hours into the US, you need to make sure that those classes that you took somewhere else outside the US align with the requirements for that state. So that's step 2. So you apply. The Illinois Board of Examiners tell you, okay, we think based off of our review of your application, we think everything is fine. You are now permitted to sit for the CPA exams. So you can't just go and register for the exam without going through that process of them actually saying that you can sit for the exam. So that's step 2. Step 3, you get what they call notice to sit for your exam. And then now you can start, how would I put this? Apply, I guess, for...
Registering?
Register, that's the word. You can start registering for each part of the CPA exam. So now there are 4 CPA exams that you have to take. I don't want to go into the details of what the exam entails. But there are 4 parts you have to take. You don't have to take them in a particular order. You can take them whichever way you want. But you have to pass, once you start taking the exams, you have to pass everything within 12 months. I think 12 months, yeah. You have to pass everything within 18 months, my bad. Within 18 months, so that the other one does not expire. So in plain terms, what I'm trying to say is there's a particular number of months you have to pass. So once you start taking the first one, there's a particular number of months you have to take all 4 of them and pass. If not, the first one you took would expire, or any one you take that exceeds the time frame would expire, and which means that you have to take that exam again.
So, I guess let's put it in real life. If you might hear some people say, "Oh, it took me 4 years to get the CPA." It's not because they are dull or anything. It's because of all those semantics that they put into the thing. So, if you start exam A now, this is January, and then you take exam 2 in July,
And you don't pass.
now, because you started in January, your time starts counting from January. So you have 18 months. The one that you did, exam 2 that you did not pass, if by August of next year or July of next year, you've still not passed it. Exam A that you passed in January, you lose it.
Yeah. And it's that's just
so
it.
it's like playing Ring Around the Roses or something.
Honestly.
Musical chairs.
Honestly. So you lose the exam, all of that, and in between, if you're lucky like me, they can decide to change the exam structure while you're still trying to pass it. So
So you have to start all over again.
Or not change like the required, maybe like the kind of questions that they ask. Also, it's
actually you don't even know the questions.
Yeah, you don't know the
ask.
questions, but like they have
Like the
textbooks that they like are official and all of that. It's like taking the GRE, and let's say they change the GRE this year. Now you need to buy new textbooks, and these textbooks are expensive.
Yeah.
Registering for the exam is expensive. Moving your exam is expensive.
Yep.
So you're just spending money, wasting time.
For each exam, you probably spend about $76 to register for the exam, apart from your application fee. And then there's some other fee. There's so many fees, trust me. And then for the textbooks itself, for the recommended ones, the ones I used, I got one on discount for about $500 and something $600. One textbook on discount.
For one exam.
Yes. And so imagine so for example, if you're taking like regulation, that's what we call it. Regulation is tax and business law. Tax laws change pretty much almost every year. And so if you used a textbook like 2 years ago, it might be outdated for the exam for this year. So you pretty much have to buy a new one and know what exactly the law says, because the CPA exam can start testing those new requirements in the new exam. So, yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's important to be strategic in what you're doing.
Yep.
Like, get your 150 or whatever the credit hours are for your school or for your state, and then start figuring out how to take the CPA. And also consider the fact that you might be working as you're taking the CPA. So, like...
Can you register for classes to prepare for the CPA, or is it all study on your own?
You can register for classes, so it depends on. So that's what I was saying. I don't want to promote any course or book on this
But there are people that offer.
But there are people that offer,
That's
and
an
they're
additional cost.
yes. So and they're recommended books. They're books that I would recommend to people personally, just based off of personal experience. And those guys have classes you can take. You pay extra for the classes. I took one of their classes once just because I just needed time to just buckle down and just pass the exam, because I was working when it's not like I didn't have the opportunity to get it done before, but you just think sometimes you think it's easy and I'm just to pass it, but yeah, that's not always the case. So I was working, so I just needed to buckle down and get it done. One thing I forgot to mention before too is you can register as a provisional candidate when you're still in school. So you don't necessarily have to, if you're still in school, you don't necessarily have to have the 150 credit hours at the time of application. So you just have to be able to prove that you're going to have the 150 credit hours by the time you start taking the exams. So
what's the benefits of registering as a provisional candidate?
So you can actually start taking before you're done with school.
Oh.
So for example, for me, I had to I did a provisional candidate process where I was able to prove that I was going to have 150 credit hours by May 30th because I was registered for those classes already.
Okay.
So I was able to prove that by this time I would be able to get this. So as a result, I was able to sit for the exam. Downside is you don't get your scores until you're done with the 150 credit hours.
Oh.
So even though I took 2 exams while I was in school, I didn't see the scores till
What if
later.
you fail?
Yeah.
If you fail,
If you fail, that's the problem.
and does your 18 months start counting from when you
When
took
you
the
took
exam?
Yeah.
They
That's
just set
a-
someone up.
So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a tedious process, but
Yeah.
it's doable. There are many people that have done it, and
You can do it.
You can do it.
And just to clarify, I know you're speaking from an Illinois perspective, but is all of this applicable for people who want to take the CPA in other states as well? At least the high level process of requirements, the registering for the board. all the things you
Yes.
said?
Yes.
Okay.
The only things that might vary, would be like the number of credit hours you have to get. So Illinois, like I said, is one of the toughest states where you have to get 150 credit hours. If you move over to Michigan, on the other side, is 120 credit hours.
Okay.
The other thing too is once you're done with the CPA exams and you've passed all the parts, in Illinois you have to take what they call the ethics exam. You have to get a minimum of 90% on that exam. They just need to know that
You're
you are
ethical.
ethical.
So not all states will have that ethics exam requirement.
Not all of them have it, I don't think.
Okay.
But Illinois requires it. And, going back to the history.
Okay.
I won't say anything. But,
If you know, you know.
yeah, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So they require that in Illinois. And also they require, I was reading recently, as of January last year, they started requiring you have to have 3 credit hours of ethics class, even in college. So not just even taking the exam, you have to have classes to prove that you've taken those classes too. So yeah.
All right. So, what are the opportunities available for international students after graduating? What's the job process like? Are there opportunities to get jobs?
Yes. Okay, so now I would say there's still a better chance in accounting than most other majors, to get a job as an international student. It's more difficult compared to when I graduated. You go to career fairs, and if you're not an accounting major, you're probably not going to find a company that would say, yes, we're going to hire you and sponsor you, and for you to get that experience. So now, but the opportunity is still there. It's just very limited.
Yeah.
Compared to before.
I guess to put some context, so a lot of the big four accounting, like she mentioned, Deloitte, PwC, Ernst & Young, KPMG, they are known historically to sponsor international students. And so that's why she's saying typically it's an easy chance to, as an international student, if you're good, and you get sponsorship. But now this is 2020. Times have changed, so also these companies have had to change as well. There's still a chance out there, but it's just more limited. So that's in public accounting. How about industry side?
Industry side, it's very dicey. A lot of companies, even when you apply, they ask you, do you need sponsorship now or in the future? Even if you're OPT, and you don't need sponsorship now, you probably need in the future. So that answer is still yes. And for a lot of people, automatically they cut from there. I would say it's more limited, honestly, in industry. Your best chance would be to go into public. And if it's not big four, even some of the smaller ones, but your biggest chance would be big four accounting firms, except for Deloitte.
Right. Do you have any more advice, tips for people who want to study accounting, especially as international students?
Or even just tips on how to pass the CPA, or some things that
What's
you
your
found
wisdom?
helpful.
From your experience, just share.
From my wealth of knowledge.
Yes, please.
Man, I have a lot. First of all,
Just give us 5.
Yes. So this is
I'll try to limit it. First of all, if you know you're coming to study accounting, I'm not saying be a nerd or anything, but know what you're doing right from the start. In terms of what path am I trying to take? Am I trying to be a CPA or not? Am I trying to go into public accounting? Do I want to get a master's? All of that. Know what you're doing up front, and even if you don't know, no pressure, but just have an idea, have a plan. If your plan falls through, at least you had one. Once you get to school, know the classes you need to take to be able to graduate on time. and have all the requirements that you need for whatever path you're going to take. That's one. Two, get internships. Very, very important. Get internships. I cannot even... Okay, before you even get internships, go to your career center once you get to school. It does not matter. For me, I knew as an international student I couldn't get an internship my first year, but I was still at the career center because that's what my cousin told me to do.
So
and I went.
Career center, like resumes.
Yeah, so they look at your resumes, they start prepping you for interviews. The art of interviewing.
It's a skill.
It's a skill that you have to learn and master. So go to the career center, meet the people there, get introduced to people.
Let them know you.
Let them know you. You to know them. And then get internships. Every summers, whatever it is, get internships. If your school does like a winter internship, take advantage of it. Because then you can really... A lot of people decide from that point, actually, whether they want to go into public accounting or want to go into non-public. As an international student, those are for non-international students, those are the people that decide. For the international students, that's your opportunity to get your leg in the door, do well at those companies, and get an offer before you even graduate. So a lot of international students have an offer before they even graduate.
Yeah, I think you should also touch on the recruiting cycle. Recruiting cycle for the Big Four is slightly different.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Big Four accounting firms, they recruit like a year in advance or
actually
two.
now two.
Yeah, when you think about it, because like if you want to get an internship for like summer of this summer, like let's say you want to get summer this year,
you would have got your offers since last year.
Yeah, they would have done the recruitment like
That's 2 years though.
No, like now, at least when I was in public accounting, now for our interns, or at the time, the interns, they hired them 2 years before.
Wait, 2 years?
So a lot of the interns that I worked with were not going to start until... So if I worked with them maybe 2018, they were not going to start till 2020 summer.
like full-time.
Full-time, yeah.
So that means they have to be like in their sophomore year or something.
So a bunch of them were sophomores when they were doing their internships.
Interesting.
Yeah. And now a lot of Big Four accounting firms are filling up the spots that they have with their interns. So that even shrinks like a lot of people. Honestly, for a lot of people, I was talking to somebody that did a recruiting rotation, and she was like, for a lot of, we just had to send a mass email like,
rejection.
Yeah, sorry. It's not because you're not good enough.
But they
just don't have space. That's just the thing. They filled up the spot with their interns already. So that's why it's very important to get internships and get your leg in the door as early as possible.
Yeah.
And also, to be able to get your leg in the door, your resume has to be on point. Your GPA has to be on point. A lot of companies don't look at GPAs of less than 3.5. So which means you have to really buckle down. If you know that you're smart and you can just, play around, that cool for you. If you know you're not that kind of person, then
mellow down some.
Yeah, you need to get in the books. If you can't get 3.5, there are exceptions where you can show that you were doing other things that count, because it's not just about school. It's not just about books in the US. It's
well balanced.
You have to be well-rounded. And now in the industry where especially in accounting, it's funny, everything is now digital. So you have to have some sort of digital skill. It's not like before where it's just, I know my accounting, I know my balance sheet, and my... Like, you have to be able to show that you can do things in Excel and beyond Excel. There are a lot of tools that are coming out that are not just Excel. I don't know, Ultrix, was SQL. Even when you're applying now, like, they ask you for certain things. So you need to have some sort of digital analytics. That has to be part of you. If you want to really make a difference, that has to be part of your resume at this point.
I think even before all of that is also when you're choosing your school, make sure that these companies actually recruit from your school. Because that's
true, good point.
Because they'll come and meet you on campus.
And you don't have to go struggle to find them. Because the truth is, these Big Four firms, they have targeted schools. So like when you're looking for your school even at bachelor level, go through the career fair center, see where people work, see what kind of companies recruit from there, and make sure that you would actually be able to meet these companies. Because if they have target schools, usually these companies, they don't look outside of their target schools, especially at bachelor's level, where it's not like you have years of experience or something. Yeah, so it's not like you have years of experience and you're doing something special. All of you are freshmen or sophomores together, so they have target schools, and it's usually selected based on the curriculum of the school. They know what they're getting from those schools. So you coming from a non-target school is usually harder to get in. So like keep all these things in mind when you're selecting your school, you're selecting your major, and basically when you're just planning for your future in general.
I think that's a very, very, very important point. Know what school you're going to. Make sure that they're recruiting from those schools. And even if they're not recruiting from those schools, try as much as possible to network with. If your school networks with other big schools in the area, make sure you're going there. Don't just be in school reading books.
You have to be strategic.
You have to be very, very strategic, intentional. When you don't feel like doing it, go and do it. Oh, and then another thing. Okay, so two more. For your CPA, try to get it done before you start working. I cannot emphasize that enough. Like, get it done as much as possible. Get it done before you start working. Because once you start working, you think you can balance it. It's a lie. You can. It's just 10 times harder.
And public accounting is known for like
you work
working
exactly.
people, so like it's
you won't have time.
You won't have time.
You won't have time. Let's just put it. And by the time you come back, you think you want to study, you want to sleep.
Tired.
So it's better for you to just get it done before you start. And then the last one I have is just be comfortable. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Full stop. I do not like networking or having small talks, but you gotta do it.
Yeah, especially in public accounting.
Yeah, you just gotta do it.
Because that's how you get in the door sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, you just have to be able to go chit chat, talk to people.
Let them know you.
Let them know you. That's very important. Even when you start working, let people know you.
Yeah.
So when you're in school too, let people know you. You think the annoying people that you think are on campus,
They're everywhere.
they're everywhere.
And
You
they
think
get
it's
job.
just
That's how you
because
get job. You think, from a Nigerian, let's keep quiet.
yeah, my hard work. I used to think my hard work would speak for me.
No. That's how you call working hard. You're not working smart.
Your hard work will speak for you, but you
Will
need to be
speak
able
for you.
to like advertise yourself.
Yes.
There are a lot of good people in school, a lot of good people at work.
Yes.
It's able to advertise yourself. And I mean, if you don't care, that's fine.
That's cool. If you have your father's
your
company,
goals.
you're
So
going.
you have your
Know your
moolah.
goals.
Exactly. Feel free.
But yeah.
But yes, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for
Thank
sharing your
you.
words of wisdom. It's
Thank
been
you.
very insightful learning about accounting. I didn't know.
Sorry.
One more
One thing.
thing.
One thing. Sorry.
more thing.
One more thing. That just pops in my mind. Don't think accounting is just about balance sheets and trial
not.
balance. It's not just that. And don't think that it's just audits or tax that you can do. I have discovered that there's a lot more you can do. You can do risk assurance, which is IT audit if you want.
Interesting.
You can do internal audits. You can do public accounting audit. You can do tax. Within tax, there are a lot. International tax, state tax, whatever you want to do. There's also this field they now call technical accounting. You can do that, which technical accounting is just you read the guide, accounting guide, and interpret it to the company. Research, and you get paid. But if you don't like reading book, maybe that's not for you. But you can do there's so many different paths you can take. That's the long and short of my story. So it's not just about balance sheets and trial balances, and you don't ever have to look at that if you don't want to. I don't really
Do that.
like that. So yeah.
And what did you say you are right now?
So I do technical accounting
Okay.
in industry.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, that's all.
No, that's.
All right, so are we done now?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think okay. What you says one more. Thank you for sharing how would you want people to connect with you afterwards? Are you open to that? If people have further questions?
Yeah, please feel
All
free.
right, so send your emails and we'll move forward. Thank you, Ian, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You know where to find us. You can find us on all of our social media pages: Facebook, Instagram. We have LinkedIn now, and Twitter as well. Niger to America. And if there's another pathway, if there's another field that you're in, you'd like us to interview someone, let us know. Send us an email, DM us on Instagram, and we would be happy to bring someone on board. See you again on the next video. Thank you for watching as always. My name is Yoande Moyo. I will see you.
Bye guys.